And welcome back to Bobby Valentine to Hanashima Show. This is Bobby V with Frankie Rampant, and we're ready to talk a little baseball MLB style. In particular, how the Japanese players are performing, what challenges they might have, and things to look forward to. And Frankie, we have to start the show by giving our condolences and our appreciation for the life that passed in Nagashima-san, the greatest Japanese player to ever play. He was heralded as that, and I think he was, with over 400 home runs, 400 doubles. Guy played 16 years at their major league level, was the captain of the great Tokyo Giant teams. But besides being the great leader that he was and captain that he was a super guy. I got to get to know him when he was a young, not even a young manager, but when he was an established manager, and I was a young manager. And then throughout my managerial career, he befriended me when I was in Japan, and I thank him for that. I think he was just one of the greatest people I've ever met, and he'll definitely be missed and leave a big void in Japanese baseball and in all of baseball history in the future. So, let's move on to some of the guys who are making their legend here. And of course, we always start with Ohtani, who's pitching well in his rehab performances. He's building up his pitch count. He's also hitting well, but not hitting at the greatest level. What do you think of Ohtani right now, Frankie?
Yeah, Ohtani, I mean, you can call it one of his little lulls, but when Ohtani's hitting just okay, it seems like Ohtani's not doing so well because he's just so exceptional all the time. But maybe him pitching, ramping up his arm routine, he's got a new baby, a lot of things going on in his life. Maybe there's some things distracting him from putting his best performances together. But like everybody who's a baseball fan, I cannot wait to see Shohei back on the mound. I haven't seen Shohei pitch. Last time he pitched, actually, I was out in California with you, Bobby, when he got a finger injury that stopped him. And then after that, the whole elbow injury happened again. But very anticipating to see Shohei Ohtani make his return to the mound, hopefully sometime around the All-Star break this year in July.
Yeah, and you can imagine everything that's going on there. You know, there's I never, ever think that he could be distracted. He's such a genius at what he's doing. But you mentioned pitching, getting ready, worrying about taking care of that elbow, because, you know, if while he's pitching, he hurts his elbow again, that's going to keep him from hitting. And, you know, all those things that are on his mind to be the greatest that ever lived is a little challenging. Looking forward to the All-Star break, but he's got a lot of baseball in him. And boy, if he's not the MVP, people are going to be surprised in the National League. And in the American League, we might mention that Aaron Judge is still doing great, but there's a catcher in Seattle who's doing pretty good too, who's going to challenge Aaron Judge for the MVP in the American League.
For sure. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper out there in Seattle, the Platinum Glove Award winner from last season. He is on an absolute tear right now. 25 home runs already, 26 home runs, excuse me. Hit 2 last night. Unbelievable. He's been great. He's going to challenge the all-time home run record for a catcher. He's 2 home runs behind Johnny Bench to break the record for the most home runs before the All-Star break. And the All-Star break's over a month away.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter with immense power. He's really the main and only credible hitter in the Seattle lineup. And he's, catching really well, throwing really well, blocking really well. And I think he's going to have a lot of mention when it comes voting time for the All-Star game. Of course, he's in it already, and also voting for the MVP if he keeps it up. It's an amazing run that he's on. It's another run is over in LA with Yamamoto proving that he's worth every penny that he signed for.
Yes, he is. Another dominant start for Yoshinobu Yamamoto yesterday. 6 innings, only 4 hits allowed, 9 strikeouts, only 2 walks. He's been exceptional. He's got a 2.2 ERA. 2.2 ERA. This is the Yamamoto that the Dodgers paid for. He's been unbelievable this year. So fun to watch. Just look at that swing he gets. So many times you see a non-competitive swing from these opponents. He just dices people up.
He has really good stuff, but very good combinations. You see them swinging at this low pitch, that split finger that's going down or slider that's going down and in. That's after he throws a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at your knees, darting the outside corner, and then following it up with a pitch that disappears. He's got great combination and great stuff. If he stays healthy, and health is something we have to be concerned with now here at about the third of the season being gone. Now the weather turns, all the ballparks are going to be warm, the travel is going to be difficult, and keeping all of the pitchers healthy and keeping all players healthy, in particular Japanese players who aren't necessarily used to all of the travel and all of the wear and tear of a major league season. You got to keep them fresh. The Dodgers had a great plan with all of their good pitching to go with 6 men in their rotation. But we know Loki Sasaki is down now, and he joins like 15 other pitchers from the Dodgers who are on the disabled list. So it's really an amazing scenario that the Dodgers are keeping pace and doing what they're doing without, a dozen good pitchers.
It really is unbelievable. They have 16 pitchers. 16 pitchers on the injured list. That's the most you can combine the entire league's pitchers together, and I believe the number is 17. I saw that on a post yesterday. It's unbelievable how hurt and injured this Dodgers pitching staff is, yet they continue to be one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, one of the best teams because they say they have the best process, that they train the best. They have labs that dissect and understand what a pitcher's strength and weakness is. But I think they might have to revalue and reevaluate the situation of their training, because you can't have this many pitchers be hurt and think it's just a coincidence.
No, it's not sustainable. They won't be able to do it for a long season, but so far so good. This offense is just dominant. Unbelievable. Another Japanese pitcher we're going to move on to here, Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga's been exceptional this year, just like Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Senga's ERA 1.59, third in baseball. It wasn't a win on Friday night, but pitched against the Colorado Rockies in Colorado at Coors Field. Very tough place to pitch. Massive outfield, lots of space for balls to find holes, and also the elevation makes that ball fly. But he was able to cool this Rockies team, actually coming off of their first sweep of the year against the Marlins. But they beat them 4-2. 6 innings for Senga, 6 strikeouts, only 2 walks, and only allowed 1 earned run.
It's always exciting to see a Japanese-born pitcher pitch in Colorado with the history of Nomo going in there and throwing his first no-hitter in Colorado and throwing out of the stretch, which was really amazing because Nomo got a lot of credit because of his deception of his tornado windup and how hard that was for hitters to pick up. Well, he went into Colorado, threw a no-hitter and threw it, throwing every pitch out of the stretch. That's something I'm sure that the Japanese pitchers know of and go in and try to top it if they can.
Yeah, got to be on the mind of every Japanese pitcher when they go into Coors Field to try to make a start. And Kodai Senga did his best Nomo impression. Didn't get the no-hitter, but a great start for Senga. He's been exceptional as well.
Yeah, Matsui's still doing well in San Diego, and Imanaga's making his rehab. He pitched 2 innings in a rehab through 25 pitches, trying to test that hamstring and get the arm back into shape for the Chicago Cubs. But the Chicago Cubs keep on winning, and one of the big reasons is because of their Japanese slugger.
Yes, Seiya Suzuki, been unbelievable this year for the Chicago Cubs. 16 homers on the season, 55 RBIs, third in all of MLB. He hit 2 home runs against the Detroit Tigers in Detroit yesterday on Saturday. He has been so good this year. Seiya Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong at the top of this Cubs lineup. Best offense in the National League, just keeps humming.
Yeah, Suzuki is a player with extreme power, and he came over and he showed the power, and he got injured. He never played the full season. Looks like he's healthy right now and displaying that power that he had in Japan and he still possesses, and he's leading that team along with Kyle, like you say, and of course some of their young stars.
Yeah, that Chicago Cubs team going to be very scary coming into the late part of the season. Going to be very formidable in the playoffs. And you mentioned
the one thing about Chicago is they play so many day games during the season. Not as many as they used to, but playing day games in Chicago with the humidity at 100% and the temperature rising during the summer, it's always a test for a team, and they'll be tested as the season progresses.
And you never know which way the wind's going to be blowing out there in Chicago. Could be blowing out 25 miles an hour, could be coming in 30. You never know. But speaking of the Chicago Cubs, and you mentioned Shota Imanaga, he is making his way back. Probably, if not one of my favorite, if not my favorite pitcher to watch pitch in all of baseball, just the way he goes through a game, works through a lineup multiple times through. A guy who reminds me a lot of him, been very good this year, kind of overlooked because his team hasn't done so well, but Tomoyuki Sagano. He has been unbelievable this year. He has a 3.04 ERA, a 5-3 record. He has been the main bright spot on this Baltimore Orioles team. We've mentioned that a few times already throughout this show, throughout the year, but he just continues to do it, locating fastballs exactly where he wants it with pinpoint accuracy, off-speed pitches, mixing those in when he needs to, and he just continues to do it, Bobby.
Yeah, he's a really fine pitcher coming with great credentials from the MPB and showing that it wasn't a fluke. He's nothing less than an outstanding starting pitcher. And Frankie, I mentioned it before, but maybe some of the fans haven't heard it. But, the evolution of pitching now is that the MLB pitchers are finally pitching the way Japanese pitchers pitched in the past. And the way the Japanese pitchers pitch was that they would have multiple pitches that they could throw for strikes. So when they were behind in the count, in what we called a fastball count here in MLB, they could throw breaking balls for strikes, and that would throw off the hitter. Well, when the Japanese pitchers first got here, they wanted to prove that they could pitch like the MLB pitchers, and very often when they got 2-0, 3-1 in the count, they would be forced to throw fastballs and hitters would hit them. Now all major league pitchers are pitching the way Japanese pitchers always pitched, and that's throwing breaking balls in those counts that the hitters thought were fastballs. And the Japanese pitchers are excelling at the game that they basically created.
Yeah, baseball really has changed in that sense in the MLB, especially like you mentioned. The Japanese pitchers have been doing this forever, but in the MLB, there were such thing as fastball counts, right? 3-0, 3-1, even 2-1 sometimes. No more fastball counts. Anything could come, any pitch of the game. You have no idea now.
Yeah, and it makes it tougher. And the thing that makes it even tougher than that, and I'm going to say this maybe every YouTube podcast that we have, is that the umpiring, it's just too tough for the guys to call balls and strikes correctly. The umpiring has been terrible. It's caused many games, many losses, many wins, and people think maybe that human element balances out. Next year, they're going to have a challenge system, which I think is ridiculous. They should have the automatic strike zone for every pitch that's thrown so that the game is played fairly and that the right team wins. And the pitcher throws a strike, he gets a strike. When he throws a ball, he gets a ball. It makes the game fair, and it's the way it's supposed to be played. Regretfully, because of unions, that they're not going to install that automatic strike zone with a robotic umpire. They're just going to have a challenge system next year. But so many games are being decided. One pitch can decide the at-bat. One at-bat can decide the game. One game can decide the championship. And no way should that be decided by a guy missing a call behind the plate.
And I do think that now next year, they already approved the challenge system, the ABS system that they call it, right? I do think that it'll get more and more towards the fully automated balls and strikes. I think that one day we'll probably get there. What do you think?
Yeah, well, what are we waiting for? It's ridiculous that we're even waiting, that we can do it and we can institute it. The only reason we're not doing it is because catchers get paid for cheating. Yeah. So a catcher gets paid if he could take a pitch that's a ball and move it into the strike zone and fool the umpire behind him. Well, that's cheating. And why should you get paid for cheating? And umpires can get rated and get a raise if they're better than the other umpire. Well, why should there be one umpire who's good at calling balls and strikes and another one who's bad at calling balls and strikes? That's a ridiculous system that should be improved sooner rather than later.
I completely agree, Bobby. That definitely needs to be changed, but we'll see what the process for that change is. And one guy who really has taken the hit from this year, don't want to say it so much, but we've mentioned it a couple times. Yusei Kikuchi has had some bad luck this year. He is 1-5, but he has a 3.23 ERA. He's been unbelievable when he goes out there. He throws strikes. Sometimes they don't get called. Cheap hits. Texas leaguers, like we've talked about, errors behind him in the field. It's been a tough season for Yusei Kikuchi, but he still goes out there and pitches well.
Yeah, tough third of the season. I think it'll turn around and they'll give runs for him when he's pitching. And before it's all over, he's going to be the leader of the staff of the LA Angels. Hey, a couple things of note. We're going to go with a term called the sweet spot. Before we do, though, we want to make sure that people remember if you warm up as a pitcher and the catcher's going to throw it down to second base, that you have to be ready to duck. There was a situation yesterday where the pitcher got through warming up. Oh, God, he didn't duck at all, and the ball hit him right in the head. He's down. He's on the ground. The catcher doesn't even come back out to see how he's doing. Amazingly, he gets up and pitches in that game after being knocked down by his own catcher's 90-mile-an-hour fastball going down to second base.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. You better get out of the way if you're on the pitcher's mound. The guy's thrown down to second.
Yeah, so how about a term of the week? What are we going to talk about today?
So let's talk about the sweet spot, this part of the bat that we call the sweet spot. I got one right here. This is actually the Rusty Staub model. So this is an extra large sweet spot on this one. Look at this thing, Bobby.
Yeah, so the sweet spot, it's about 4 inches from the end of the bat. It's the place when you hit the ball, there's no vibration in your hands. All the vibration goes into the ball. And so the ball travels the furthest, and it's sweet on your hands. It doesn't vibrate at all if you hit it off the end or if you hit it down toward the hand more. So when you hear someone saying it's a sweet spot, it's also a term that is synonymous with a barrel, that they call the guy barreled the ball. That's when you hit it in the sweet spot. So when you hear that in a telecast or a radio cast, that's what they're talking about.
Yep, the barrel, that's where you want to hit the ball. Whenever you can't even feel it at all off the bat and it just feels so nice, that would be the sweet spot right there. That's why we call it that. So sweet.
So sweet it is. And this was a sweet little broadcast. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was brought to you by Steel Sports. And Frankie, you're doing a great job. I'm a little under the weather with a little chest cold here, and you better take care of yours because I was visiting you, and I hope I didn't leave any of those germs in your house. So good luck to everyone out there. Enjoy, and until next week, this is Bobby Valentine to Hanashima Show. See ya.